And we're back from our break. Welcome back, everyone, to the second part of pitches today, the pitches of the South African cohort. Hope you had a nice lunch. Hope you managed to... excuse me. I'm already thinking about lunch. Hope you had a nice break, nice refreshments, managed to calm your nerves a bit down and prepare for your pitch. And because pitching in a second language to a distinguished panel while being streamed online wasn't nerve-wracking enough, we have in our room today Her Excellency High Commissioner of South Africa in London, Mrs. Tambo. So no pressure, but please be amazing. And we will start with our first fellow from the South African cohort, Abide Ncube. Are you ready to present? Please come forward.
Right. Okay. So how does this work?
The next will be Tshwafo Motaung. Please prepare. Whenever you're ready.
All right. Okay. So my name is Abide, and I am the Managing Director of SkyVantage, and I will be outlining funding and partnership opportunities which I need for the corporation. Okay. So much like everyone, we all have cell phones. We all have electronic devices. I love toys. I love them. But I've noticed something. We're all the same. We have the same tendency. Currently, we generate close to 49 million tons of electronic waste on a per annum basis. We only ever recycle and manage 20% of that. In the United Kingdom, it's no different, 17%. In South Africa, 12%. We have a problem. However, at SkyVantage, we've established the business for this very same purpose, to address the current e-waste problem that is ever growing, that is never managed as it should be. Now, oh geez, okay, cool. Now, the business is operational, but we do have challenges when it comes to collections. Because of legislature, we aren't able to collect from clients because they aren't able to throw it out, which makes it a big problem. However, we have a solution. Imagine if you had a partner who was able to tell you when to collect, in what quantities, optimizing your collection route, at the same time allowing clients a second better option where to throw their e-waste. Allow me to introduce to you the smart e-bin, smartly intuitive, able to manage and tell in real time as to what quantities of waste are you actually throwing out and when is it due time for us to collect. Now, all we seek is funding and funding of amounting to £120,000 and a pilot customer to support that. Now, as deliverables from this project, we should expect higher input from e-waste, better documented and a larger circular economy, and really less waste in the economy. Now, our vision for 2022 is quite simply to grow into the very first e-waste process plant within South Africa and Africa at large. Now, this then should enable us to collect electronic waste optimally. At the same time, we should be even able to collect waste from the UK, starting with the audience, specifically the judges. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Abide, but please, yeah.
I think you are truly a gadget man.
I love them.
And the idea of the e-bin is an excellent idea. And I have got tons of these gadgets in my home. I want an incentive. What is the incentive for me to give it to the e-bin? That I can be assured that it will get all the way to South Africa and it will be converted to gold. What is the incentive?
Okay, so for clients on the user end side of things, depending on the quantities that I can collect from you, you actually get some sort of rebate back. At the same time, you do know that it's very expensive discarding e-waste, especially in the UK. I think you pay close to about $500,000 as a fine. I don't think you can afford that, you know, but you do actually get something back. as a user.
I won't hold on the microphone, but there is an end-of-line directive, is a law that everybody has to recycle those. Have you thought about using that to incentivize people?
Would that be the bezel read? Yes.
So thanks very much for that. So what are some of the obstacles you've come across?
Could you please rephrase?
What obstacles have you come against in terms of making this very successful?
When it comes to e-waste, it seems that we all love these devices, but we are misinformed. So you really have to educate the client to realize that the phone that they have at home or their computer actually contains contaminants that are very poisonous. I mean, who wants to ingest mercury or lead? I definitely don't. So the educational part of things is more the difficult side of that issue.
Okay, so are you educating people, or how are you doing that?
Through multimedia, and as well I do go out to schools and tell them and inform them about electronic waste, which are also used as collection points. At the same time, I do try to give back to the community through CSI initiatives.
Okay, so how many tons do you collect per week at the moment?
Let's just say per month we can collect as much as 10 to about 15.
And what's your capacity?
In regards to manpower, our team is about 6 strong. Yeah, we're looking to expand that as well.
I have 2 questions. One is a little bit connected to what you initially said. I still haven't understood what makes the bin smart. And
secret formula.
And secondly, the question is, so how is the fact that you're actually able to collect more waste have an impact on the actual recycling rate? So if you're saying that only 20% get recycled of all the waste collected, so you are basically just adding more waste, but are you actually also having an impact on the actual recycling rate?
Yes.
How?
So SkyVantage is an actual operating business. We
Okay.
have a site and access to about 172 hectares of land. So the idea is to grow into a full-fledged process plant. Currently, we do take in waste, we document, we recycle ourselves.
Okay, so you're already recycling the waste?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Now we're just
That wasn't
putting a
clear.
dash of technology in there just to optimize the whole process and to simplify things on the client end of things.
Okay, and what makes the bin smart?
Secret formula, technology. Yes.
Time left for one more question.
I have a question about who's your target market for this? Because if you're targeting individuals, that's one thing, but maybe there's a bigger opportunity around business waste, because that probably won't fit in a bin, that probably won't be taken to shopping malls. So just wondered, why have you focused on individuals?
Actually, I'm not focused on individuals alone. However, look at it this way. E-waste is a numbers game. If I collect from corporates, it's true, there is more quantity. In fact, a huge portion of the business comes from corporates. However, I'm trying to kind of play a different game where, suppose I place a collection bin within a mall. It means that on your way to the mall, you can simply drop off your waste in the e-bin. So that's how I'm trying to facilitate for that. That's also partially why this product exists.
Thank you very much. Let's give it up for Next up, Tshwafo. I hope I pronounced it correctly. So if you can stand in
Okay.
this area, and whenever you're ready to start. Yeah.
Construction. As we speak, there are people who are busy constructing. This sector is growing rapidly, but it's unsustainable because it's energy intensive and use hazardous material. My name is Tshwafo from the CEO of Tsepa. We manufacture biobrick using waste mass. In fact, we use material which are environmentally unfriendly and health risk. We collect the materials from the different industries using our IP, develop biobricks which are cheaper, lighter, and less use of energy. Currently, we are operating at Umhlathuze municipality, and if we can be able to reach 10% penetration to the market, this will be equivalent to 20 million pounds per annum. We've got a vision to expand nationally and internationally. This is our capable team for manufacturing, and we are supported by industrial experts. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to emphasize that we are supported by municipality now. They give us the land and also TIA. They also funded this project to where it is. We want to expand from where we are at to secure our manufacturing security and new customers. But we would also like to raise 500K, half of which it will be used for capital cost and other departmental markets. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
Thank you. Have you actually made samples of this brick?
We've got municipality already bought some. In fact, we've got first sales with the municipality.
How many bricks did you make?
For municipality, it was 20,000. So we have got a meeting very soon with the municipality to follow up with our customers.
So if you have the bricks and the Kenyans have the tiles on the roof, have you ever thought about working together?
We done the deal. The deal is sealed.
You're already ahead of us here. So have you brought any bricks with you?
Bricks. It will be very, very difficult using migration policies to come with the brick from South Africa.
Okay. Why?
They are very. It's the policy.
Okay. Have you built anything with these bricks already?
I beg your pardon?
Have you used them in the
Yeah,
construction?
on our side we've got a house made from the brick.
Really?
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
So whom are you competing with here, and how are you? What is your unique competitive advantage? Because is it price? Is it the method of production? Is the fact that you're environmentally friendly? So what is people stopping you from? What is distributors, building companies, manufacturers stopping from using your bricks? What is the current state of affairs?
Thank you very much. I would like to make confession. In the construction sector, it's not easy to get to 10% market penetration. That alone will tell that we are unique. Our research market, it suggests that we are unique. It means for the green bricks, in our area, no one is doing the green bricks. They are still doing cementitious bricks and clay brick. There are ones which are famous, and those are energy intensive, and they participate in the carbon dioxide emission. And we've got also have a nationally problem of electricity. This is an opportunity to invest in this business so that we can assist to alleviate the country. Okay.
Potentially building on that, I've got a question around how you're kind of taking it to market. I just wondered if you'd explored partnerships with house builders and construction firms, whether you could, rather than just have them as customers, whether you could have a deeper relationship. Maybe they'd be wanting to invest in you because they get cheaper materials, and whether you can kind of formalize that relationship a bit more.
We will definitely consider that. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so next up, Feroza. And Fortune, please prepare. We've got some props for this one, so I'm sure our judges will like it. Oh. Are we going to find out?
Okay, it's breakfast.
I didn't have any breakfast, that's good.
There you go. You ready?
Yeah, I'm just, okay. So, good morning. One of my favorite childhood memories was coming home from school, knowing that my grandmother's going to be waiting for me with freshly baked bread and jam. That was my sweet treat before dinner time, and it was always very exciting. However, a lot has changed since then, and most established and traditional brands has changed their manufacturing practices and techniques. So they produce faster foods that don't have any nutritional value and that are mass-produced or over-processed. And according to the Healthy Living Alliance, 70% of women and 39% of men suffer from obesity in South Africa. Thus, the concept of Nala jams was formed. So I'm Feroza October. I'm brand co-founder, brand ambassador, and research technologist of Nala Jams. We are a team of 4 members with a collective experience of over 80 years in the food, technology, and agricultural sector. So, I believe in order to allow one to access nutritional foods, and that would be by the addition of bioactive compounds and nutrient-rich substrates into processed foods and fruits and vegetables. And I believe that our product falls into this category. Our products are fortified using indigenous ingredients that are high in antioxidants that allow people to reach their daily recommended dietary allowance. Also high in antioxidants, we have a reduced sugar content and no chemical additives. This is just to show us sourcing our ingredients, and then we're left with the final product. Our market, we're looking at a total addressable market of 2.5 million jams per year. And we need grant funding. We need grant funding to appoint a commercial manager to assist us in marketing and sales, branding, and look for distribution channels. And then finally, our second arm of our business, I feel it's quite important. It's the training of rural women and girls in agro-processing techniques, giving them the skills to become financially independent and to create sustainability in their community. I thank you. Oh, sorry, and you are more than welcome to try our jams. So this is a apricot and rooibos tea, and this is a grape and honeybush. Rooibos tea and honeybush are indigenous to the Western Cape.
Without sounding ignorant, not having tasted it yet,
Yes.
what is really unique? Is it only reduced sugar, or is it no sugar? Is it really extra antioxidant, or is it more antibiotics, natural antibiotics? What is really unique, which is going to compete with those giant corporations who
Yes.
can make it very cheap?
Yeah. So I would say what is unique that we have a reduced sugar content, but we have it's including everything that you mentioned. So we've got high antioxidants, we've got added minerals, and that we get through the indigenous ingredients that we add to our jams. We have currently developed over 30 recipes. We are planning 5 is ready for the market, so we plan to launch with 5. Once that gains traction, we will then launch with another 5. We're also planning to move into other industries like fruit rolls, chutneys, juicing. Yeah, so our opportunities, I feel, are endless.
Thank you very much. It's very delicious.
Thank you.
I love jam. So tell me a little bit more about this, the social impact aspect. And are you empowering exactly the rural
Women,
people?
yeah. So we would identify a community, and we will go in there and then teach them whatever training they require. So we will have to investigate what fruits they have, what produce they have, then tailor-make a processing technique according to what they need, and also very important, the infrastructure.
So they're selling it back to you, or how does it work? They're selling the jam to you?
No, it's more for their personal, for their community. Because in South Africa, the second economy is very far from the commercial field. And it's more to create a sustainable ecosystem within their community.
How are you selling the jams at the moment?
We sold it at 2 festivals last year. It was a cheese and wine festival, and we sold 500 units. I think from what I've learned the past 2 weeks that we undercosted our product because we thought if we sell it cheaper than what we're competing with, we'll sell more. But I think it just gave people the impression that maybe we're not on the same par. So that is something that we need to consider in future.
I think this is more a comment than the question. I think you're selling a story, and I think you have to create a story around your product that is around the sustainability, the training, the locality, the premium of the experience, and so in order to basically give people a good feeling when they are trying your jams. So I think I would agree that this is more of a premium product that you would probably sell in health stores or with a much higher price margin.
Yes.
So I think you have to really create a very, very compelling narrative around your product.
Yes.
Using that sustainability angle. The question is around the farmers. Like, what kind of relationships do you need with the farmers in order to make them sell the product to you?
Yeah. Well, currently we are spinning off from the Agricultural Research Council, so we have farms available. But once we gain traction, we can then also include small-scale farmers then to plant these indigenous ingredients that would in turn supply us, which can just create a really good ecosystem overall.
I think my question builds on some of the others in terms of what are you going to do, or what plans have you got to kind of build a brand and build marketing off the back of this?
I think because we come from the academic background, we don't really have that, and that is why we need a commercial manager to focus specifically on branding and how we can enter the market. But for now, we would just do social media and try and visit as much farmers markets and exhibitions and festivals as possible, just to create our brand.
Can we look for Manuka jam soon?
Manuka?
Okay, I think there was more of a comment than question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Fortune Nosi. Unfortunately, he doesn't have any handouts for us, but nonetheless. Our judges ready to listen to the next presentation. We can continue during the break. Okay, we're going to start now. Thank you.
Okay, good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning to the panel. Today I shall deliver the Nosi Beam Investor presentation. Nosi Beam is a solar energy products and solutions brand. I will highlight and try paint a clear picture as to what our focus is currently. All right, globally, specifically focusing in South Africa, we have a population of 56 million. 92% of this population are active smartphone users, which gives us a total of plus minus 54 million people active on their smartphones. The smartphone these days capacitates for a large number of services that we need in our life, whether it's financial, emergency, communication, social, emotional, and functional aspects. So today, I will highlight, if you have a smartphone, you need to keep it charged. It's that simple. So at Nosi Beam, we're developing and have products in line as well as we are having an access to our product pipeline from our competitors, creating a competition role rather than struggling within our own field. So our solutions are aimed at reducing the overall consumption of the electrical grid due to people currently and always charging their smartphones and keeping them powered on. So what we are presenting today, okay, this is called the NB Pocket. The NP Pocket is a solar-powered mobile smartphone cover. We also have competition, like I mentioned earlier, from one of the leaders within this space, a company called Sunny Pockets. Now, these are the competitors we feel have been strongly doing a well enough job for us to relate with. So our aim in this sector is to have their brand white labeled with ours so we can have a larger product pipeline and have a larger product portfolio to provide to people who need this solution. Our achievements thus far have been gaining interest from the likes of Huawei and MTN within South Africa. They have had a glance at our product and the solution in its overall capacity, and they are definitely keen on taking on this product. Unfortunately, we are still in our own product development stage. We need to reach final commercialization in order to supply these large distributors within South Africa. They are really one of our strongest partners because they control a relatively large stake in the smartphone and cell phone market accessory. Thank you. Yeah.
I'm not sure about this is a comment about the training. Everybody is asking for money, but actually what does the money get? What would you want to use the £100,000 for? To talk to Hawaii or Apple? What is unique about yours that's going to sell that the others cannot copy in China?
Thank you for that question. Okay, the £100,000 that we are requiring is to set up not only our own product development and take out commercial models. We aim to release 200 models for testing and market validation. It's also to strengthen our e-commerce platforms. At the moment, we are just relying on social media. This £100,000 will also be used for our overall working capital. This working capital will allow us to have an established pop-up stores, which will allow us to roll out our products and associated product pipeline as well.
But have you talked to MTN?
Yes, we have.
Why don't they fund it?
Well, they couldn't fund it at the point because we are in prototype development. They said to us, if you have a certified, whether it's SABS or CE certified product, then we can definitely take on your product and distribute it throughout our various stores. Yeah.
Any other questions from judges?
Yeah, thank you very much. So how long does it take to charge a phone with this thing?
Okay, currently we are looking at an hour. You'll probably get 5 to 8% charge, but that's why we need the technology development and that reinforcement in order to get our technology to a higher level.
Are you aiming just at the South African market, or would this work in Europe, where we don't get so much sunshine?
Yes, most of the places that we've identified for markets is generally places around the globe that would have higher rates of sunshine.
Yeah.
So that's your Latin America, Africa. South Africa is predominantly our market because that's where there is a larger capital spend in terms of smartphones and smartphone accessories.
Right. Thank you.
I think the white labeling aspect is interesting, but I think if you have to kind of distinguish about what direction you want to take this, because white labeling a product is one basically strategy, whereas obviously, you know, launching a standalone product is another. It requires kind of it requires different business models around it. So around the competitor, where is it from? Is it from the US or where is it based?
Yes, they are from the US. The reason why we don't solely want to focus on launching our own individual products is because it will take time for us to gain market traction. But now if we have a pool of associates, it becomes a lot easier. If you can typically walk into a smartphone store, you will realize that it's not just one brand, but there's different various other brands, and that also gives the customer choice in order to see which product makes their fit. That's why we want to have our own store and concepts. Even on our e-commerce platforms, we want to have our products and the white labeled products as well. That will give us a bit of a larger operational model.
I think we're almost out of time, so the last
can I
question.
ask a question about, like, what's your IP? Do you design and manufacture the solar panels? Are you about the case? Like, what bit's yours and what bit do you buy in?
Okay, currently our technology is diversified and it's relatively changes in each pace. Our IP, we haven't finalized it as yet because we haven't felt that we've gotten sufficient technology development in order for us to achieve our main core product that we have envisaged. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Next up, Irene, are you ready?
Number 12. Yeah, it's me.
Okay, are you ready to start?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Your time starts now.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If you look good outside and you feel good inside, saying that it gives you confidence and also your self-image. My name is Irene Tsele from South Africa. My brand is Tumai Castor Oil Hair and Skin Nutrition. In South Africa, there's a problem of hair loss that is estimated in 10 million to South African and men every day. The problem of the hair loss is because of the hair extensions that we put, especially our community, the black women, and the chemical products that we are using. And as you can see, my oil is extracted from castor oil beans, and the process is that one, and the final product is the hair food and skin product, of which it helps the skin to moisture. It also helps your hair to get nice growth, and also help the product also help you to get the self-confidence. And in your skin, as you can see, my skin is nice and smooth. And our sales of our oil products, we need to sell more into customers so that we get money. And our competitors is the Jamaican, of which is imported in South Africa. So we want to make it at home. And we also gonna channel our product in the salons and with social media and direct sales. And with the growth, we're gonna go further and sell the oil in the health industrials. My team is Kitlaring Polori, Northwest University. And why me is because this plant is indigenous, and I'm asking money from you to make sure I make the product growing in my country, especially made in South Africa by South African female manpower and women power.
I'm really impressed with a lot of indigenous material and particularly flowers as other seeds in South Africa, which has got a benefit. The need for process plants and development I can understand, but I also think that people, not only probably in South Africa, but in the outside South Africa, they wouldn't know the benefits. What do you think really the benefit of the castor oil is on human body, soft tissue, as well as hair? Can you identify that?
Okay, because of the indigenous part of it, this castor oil has vitamin E, minerals, and protein. Of it, it helps especially your skin for blood circulation and hair growth, preventing hair loss, and helping in the skin cracks and stretch marks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other questions?
Thank you. So have you done any sales? Have you tested the market a bit with this?
This castor oil has been used a long time ago, before we all born, and I can see a lot of customers here.
I use it.
Especially for the
I use
hair
it, but
and-
have you? I use it.
Your product.
Well, have you done? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So it's been used. People have been using this long time ago. So
Thanks for the compliment, by the way.
It's got good results.
Okay. But have you sold your product?
Yes, I've already started.
How many have you sold?
It's not a big, it's not huge, but since I've already introduced it to customers, because already we have competitors from Jamaica, so now I show them, the people, that now you can come to me. This is made here in South Africa by female.
All right, but how many products have you sold?
I've sold more than 1,550 milliliters.
In the last 12 months?
In the last 4 months, yes.
4 months?
Yeah, 4 months.
And how much do you charge per unit?
Compared to the Jamaican, it's 70 rand, 50 milliliters each.
What's that in pounds or dollars?
Around 11, 12 pounds.
Okay.
Eh?
5 pounds. Okay, fine.
Sorry, I'm not familiar with pounds.
Yeah. I think you and your colleague with the jam. I think you're kind of in the same boat, as if you have to create a brand, yes, and you have to create a very compelling story around it that actually really makes people sort of, think that they're not only buying an oil, they are buying. They're buying the impact, they are buying the women empowerment, they are buying the ecological, they are buying the South African. So I think what you probably need is really someone who is sort of expert in brand building, and especially in the cosmetics market, which is absolutely cutthroat. So just food for thought there.
There's a question around why have you chosen to ask for £100,000? Because that seems like quite a lot of money given how mature your business is.
In terms of growing my business, I need more people to extract the oil, and I still need some marketing in terms of licensing, trademark, and so forth.
Okay, thank you very much. You're in. Next up, Keneiloe. And Khaya, please prepare to be next.
I also come bearing gifts. I guess
Oh,
it's your South
we like
African
gifts
theme.
here. Well done.
This is how you think.
Okay, so we're gonna
I have to stand up. Okay.
we're gonna start now.
Yes. What do we all have in common? Honestly, what we all have in common is our love and need for food. I'm Keneiloe, co-founder of SR Snacks. 21st century challenges require humanity to change and adapt at a rapid rate. In South Africa, health concerns and food security problems are forcing more and more consumers to seek healthier, environmentally friendly, and healthier food choices. What is the solution? So Yum Sorghum Biscuits, a newly established brand made from sorghum, Africa's ancient grain. Our team is a collaborative effort, and the wheels of change require that. And I believe it is the very creation of our business. And I know that it's what will take us forward and propel us into the future, reviving the sorghum farming production. Growth in our industry is estimated at 3%. Our competition, it's a competitive market, but what our competitors lack or are missing is the use of sorghum in their product. Our product sources local supplies of raw materials and using sorghum as a main component, promoting its nutritional benefits and values. Our strategic partners, the University of Pretoria, which is providing research in the areas of agriculture and food and sciences development, Sand Bio, which is the Southern African Bioscience Network, which was our initial grant funders, and BIGSA, which is the Baking and Food Technology Incubator of South Africa. Our growth path is clear for the next 3 years. In establishing our business in 2017, we were able to conclude our license agreement with the University of Pretoria, trademark, initial sales, and further our research and development activities. What do we need? We need partners who can work closely with us to ensure that our vision and values are distributed throughout the world. We need you to buy our product, and we need investment capital so that we can be on our growth path. Change doesn't have to be difficult and hard. Sometimes change can be as sweet as buying a sorghum soyam biscuit.
Like you've got a few customers in the room already.
I hope so.
Obviously, you got the attention of everybody. It's near lunchtime. It's fantastically packaged. It's really ready. It's really good to know that this is better than any other biscuits that I have had. It's not going to put on weight. I'm not going to have sugar. What it says on it, it's got fat, it's got sugar, it's got salt.
Yes.
Can you tell me when I'm going to put taxes on salt and sugar, you're still giving me something fantastic from South Africa, but it's got salt and sugar on it?
That's part of the research and development that we're working on. So our biscuit currently is not a one-size-fits-all, but what it does offer is the nutritional benefits I highlighted. Part of our mission is to ensure that we continue developing other products that speak to your needs. So we want to address the market, but currently it's high in protein and high in fiber, and we do want to do a range of products. And we know that sorghum is a good component and will allow us to actually speak to or address the need you just highlighted right now.
Just for a second, I'm still chewing my biscuit. It's really tasty, actually.
Yes. Thank you.
So where can I buy some?
So this is why I strategically put this up here. We're online now, we're live. It would be good for us, for you to please go see our website and order so that we can build up the momentum and drive demand.
How many orders are you getting at the moment?
At the moment, we're in independent stores, health stores. My capacity is limited, which is part of why I'm looking for distribution networks. So I need to expand. It's a volume business, so I need to get as many distribution channels as possible.
Okay, so how many are you selling per month?
Per month, it varies. We are in specific shops, so it's by order.
So how many did you sell last year?
So far, last year, I was able to sell close to 5,000 rands, which was plus minus 1,000 to 2,000 biscuits. Bear in mind, they are small biscuits. So we've done pretty well in getting people to buy, especially at the niche shops that we are located in.
And what are the sales looking like this year?
They're looking good if I can get into key distribution channels. Yeah.
And what's the how much do you have to give the distributors for distributing your biscuits?
So part of our growth strategy is now negotiating, speaking, working on leads and trying to find out and build a revenue model with the distributors in South Africa first, and then we'll emerge out from the South Africa.
I'm still trying to understand. So, if somebody wanted to copy you because they suddenly see that sorghum enriched biscuits are going to be a runaway success, like what is special about your biscuit? Is it again the story? Is there something proprietary around it?
So it's very. I would like the social change and the sustainability to be around people actually building more products. So us being out there will revive the sorghum industry, which is very important. So if competitors are doing that, that's great. But we are from a research technology space. So there's a lot of research that's going into what I'm doing. It's not just a biscuit. It's actually a lot of work. Yeah.
You mentioned a bit about retailers and distribution. So just wondered if you've been to see any big retailers rather than independent ones, and what some of their feedback has been.
So we're speaking to them. It is a small market, relatively small players, but we're speaking to them and there is uptake. There's interest, and we'll continue with the negotiations going forward.
Have you been to any of the kind of the bigger distributors, like any of the more mainstream supermarkets?
So if you noticed, I think I need to go back to this slide. At the bottom, we're working with the industrial ITC in South Africa. They're actually mainly helping us with consultation to actually go approach retail buyers and sellers. So they're very strategic in that area.
Thank you very much, Keneiloe. Next up, Khaya Cokoto.
Thank you so much.
That area.
Yay.
So if you're ready, your time starts now.
Five years ago, my then 9-year-old sister was abandoned late in the evening in a Johannesburg bus station. Although she had a mobile phone, she did not have airtime nor data to contact anyone for help. Luckily for her, a good Samaritan saved her and got her to safety. This got me thinking, and to really inspire, it inspired us to find a solution for not only people like my sister, but for millions of South Africans who find themselves in situations like that and are not able to make that quick, crucial call because of lack of airtime and because the cost of communication in South Africa is very, very high. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Khaya Cokoto, and today I'd like to share with you how we're revolutionizing the mobile phone industry in South Africa. On average, South Africans run out of airtime 1.3 billion times a month. This is because, as I said, the cost of communication is very high. So what we have come up with is a solution that seeks to bring together the millions of South Africans who need to communicate, as well as brands and advertisers who wish to reach them. Our solution is an app or a platform called Umoya. What we do is we provide free mobile communication to anybody who has a cell phone. They can call any number at any network at any time, free of charge. And that is, of course, sponsored by advertising. This is how it works. You download the app once on your phone, register to use it, and whenever you need to make a call, you simply listen to a short ad, usually 10 seconds, and you make your call. And once again, when the call is finished, you can make another call. This is a win-win situation for everybody. Advertisers have access to the exact target markets that they need, and users are rewarded for listening to advertising. Right. So our team, I have a co-founder, Tshwafo Motaung. He's head of development. And we're also a team of 10 with 8 developers, financial director, and a support and admin staff. Right. Over the past 5 years, we've won numerous awards and honors, some of which includes the Silicon Valley Open Doors, Technology of Women in Business, the Nelson Mandela Top 40 Under 40, and many others. I think it is noteworthy to mention that I've worked with my co-founder on a previous startup within the technology sector, and it's still very successful. All right. So to date, we've had just about 60,000 downloads, and that was on a closed market test. Over 600,000 calls were made through the system, and our proof of concept and our beta tests have been complete. Essentially, we're market ready. What we're asking for is a £500,000 investment for 25% equity in our business. This will be used to roll out nationally, as well as to increase our user base to over 2 million within the first 6 months. Thank you.
Excellent.
Thank you.
I think it's actually brilliant opportunity finding. How have you been establishing a link between the advertiser and how much revenue have you so far been able to generate at all, if any?
All right. So thank you so much. So currently we're pre-revenue, but we've done some tests and we have letters of interest from advertisers. So our biggest problem was really getting users on the platform, because we have Coca-Cola saying that they will jump at the opportunity as soon as we have at least 500,000 users.
Do they tell you how much they're going to pay?
So we have a price and they're happy with the price point. Okay.
Okay. Thanks very much. I've got two questions about privacy. How do you protect people's privacy from being invaded by advertisers?
All right. So our company is ISO 27001 certified, which is, of course, talks to how we use data and privacy. And there are laws in South Africa that govern how we use, which is POPI, Protection of Personal Information Act. Yeah. We follow that thoroughly.
All right. And so how do you value it at £2 million? Because you're asking for
500,000.
500,000 for a quarter of a company. So you're valuing it at £2 million?
Yes, yes.
Where does that valuation come from?
We have initially raised about 750,000. Well, we pre-revenue, and the work that we've put in, we also have a patent on the system.
So what happened with that money, with that 750,000 pounds?
We use it
pounds?
Yes.
Okay.
Rands, sorry.
Okay.
Yes, we use it for development. We used it, a lot of it went into protecting the IP as well.
Right. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
So I'm trying to understand the proprietary nature of this, because it seems as this could be copied very easily.
They have tried. They have tried.
So what makes it hard to copy?
The patent is on the system on actually how we do it. So everybody would think that we use a VoIP system, and we don't. Actually, we play with the actual GSM. That is why we're not a threat to the mobile network operators. Yeah, I know.
So what would stop a mobile operator doing this themselves and bundling it as part of their kind of core offering?
So essentially, I think the whole business model is really an mobile advertising business. So one of the biggest mobile network operators has approached us because they do run a very robust digital advertising platform. So we're currently in talks with them. But secondly, we do have a patent. As I said, that somebody has tried, and part of the money that we raised, went to litigating those people who in wanting to protect, and we successfully protected our technology.
And so, would you describe your future as a technology kind of app company, or would you describe your future as a kind of media sales company?
I think as a business, more media sales, but empowered by technology.
You mentioned a previous app you developed that was very successful.
Yes.
How much money did that make?
Well, we're currently selling it. It's a mobile platform. Well, so it's a platform for corporates to be able to measure enterprise and supplier development initiatives.
So how much money did it make? That's the question.
Well, we launched it about 8 months. I think we've made about 4 million rands.
How are you going to regulate the advertisers, especially people who are vulnerable when they don't have any money to pay and they need, like your sister? How are you going to protect her from regulation of the advertisers?
So I don't understand the question.
Well, the advertisers, if it's free, they could use that opportunity that she is vulnerable and persuade her to do things which is not ethical. Yeah. So how do you regulate
Okay,
the advertiser?
I get you. So when the users register, obviously we get the age group. So for example, and the advertising is pre-recorded. So if it's my 14-year-old, since she's 14 now, so she cannot get advertising that is inappropriate for her. So advertising is targeted, but also we regulate it as well.
Great, thank you very much.
Thank you.
So we've heard so far from 7 innovators from South Africa, and what a breadth of innovations and products, from covering like local products to local specific needs like airtime and e-waste management facilities, biomass to biobricks, sustainable jam, smartphone charging, covers, castor oil, sorghum biscuits, and airtime. Thank you very much for all your presentation. Let's give a round of applause to all. We will continue with the rest of the South African cohort after a short break. So the break will be until 12:15. So do enjoy some refreshments outside this room. Oh. Welcome back, everyone, after this not-so-short break. I hope you're ready to see the next 7 presentations from South Africa. I'm really excited too, and I'm sure our judges are as well. And the first one to go will be Linah Maphanga, followed by Mareka Mokoena. So you've got 3 minutes and 4 minutes, the judges, and we're gonna start now.
Okay. Imagine walking into a shop to buy your favorite soda. You find out that you have 2 identical bottles. Which one is real? Which one is fake? My name is Linah Maphanga, and I'm here to talk about smart packaging. We all know that we have a global problem of plastic waste, that it's toxic to the environment, to people, and to animals. We also have another problem of out-of-date products, contaminated food products, and also counterfeit products. And these expired products, they pose a danger in our food security and also in public health. So how do we mitigate that? Well, we have a solution. We have created a bioplastic from sugarcane waste. This bioplastic, it decomposes very easily. So it can take a day, a week, or a month. So you can actually play around with the chemistry to get it into where you want it. So this plastic packaging, after using the product, you can just put it in your composting bin, and it turns into compost. Again, after the use by date of the product, it can alert you as a customer that the product is not safe for you to consume. Therefore, you can just put it in your composting bin and make compost. For agriculture, for landscaping, and also if you're a crop farmer, for farming. So, where's the opportunity? Our product is spans across 3 different markets, and there's no one product that has all the characteristics that our product has. And this market is over $6.79 billion market, and it's growing at 30% year on year, as we can see in this diagram. Now, our team, we have over 37 years of experience in chemical engineering and also in material science. These are some of the products that we've developed before. So we started in 2015, and now we're in 2019. We have a bioplastic But we need IP protection and further research and development. We also need testing and certification in order for us to start speaking to the market and also maybe for licensing. So we are looking for IP protection funding, grant funding of $10,000 and also corporate partnership with food packaging manufacturers and food manufacturers for research and development and also for testing. So why invest in us? Well, we don't just want to protect the environment and society. We want to create an environment where it doesn't need protection. Thank you.
Thank you, Linah. Any questions?
Thank you very much. It's great to know that the whole world is trying to solve the current world problem of the plastics. And we have had 2 excellent presentations this morning as well. Can you tell me that IP, that secret sauce, is it organic? And if it is organic, which makes it totally biodegradable, why can't you just go to Tetra Pak and say, I've got the solution to your problem, give me some money?
Okay, thank you. The current problem that we have now, we can't really go and engage with the market because we don't have IP protection. So, and this is pretty much a new field of smart biopolymers that we are trying to enter.
Polymers?
Yes. Thank you.
So how does this compare to other biopolymers that are out there? Because obviously bioplastic isn't, in that sense, something I've come across different types of bioplastic before. So I'm just trying to understand like what makes this special, and how durable it is. Like what kind of testing have you done in terms of, the safety as a food packaging device? I mean, obviously it needs to withstand certain pressures and other sort of environmental influences.
Okay. Thank you. We've done a durability test. We also done in terms of the temperatures, which one it's better for the product. So this product is mainly for perishable products that are not necessarily exposed to sunlight, because if you expose the perishable product in the sun, you know that it will start to decay. So the difference is that ours, you can play around with a secret sauce in such a way that you can design the product to start decaying when you want it. So other products in the market now, they will take maybe 6 months to disintegrate. But this one, it's quick, it takes a shortest possible time to disintegrate depending on what you want to do with the product.
I've got a question about, I guess, focus and where you're going to start, because you've talked about food and packaging and counterfeit and the impact of sunlight. So it seems like there's a million different use cases for this, which is on one part awesome, but on another part difficult to know where to start. So I wonder if you had any thoughts about what is the first way that you're going to prove and sell this?
Okay, so we wanted to use this product as bioplastic in the perishable food market, mainly for waste management, because now the regulations are pushing manufacturers to come up with better ways to manage waste. So that's what we wanted to do.
Can you tell us a bit more about the marketing strategy?
Okay, so for now, in order for us to, obviously we have about 37 years experience. We've worked in the plastic industry before, so we have a network of people that we know. But we do go to trade markets where we meet other people, especially in the packaging industry or the plastic industry, to try and understand what they are doing, and that will be mainly our channel when we finally roll out the product. We'll exhibit there.
You seem very confident about your invention.
Yes.
And to talk to major players, all you need is a confidentiality agreement. You don't need $10,000 to get them interested. Why haven't you done that?
Okay. When we went out there, they told us that they won't take our, we don't have enough credibility because we don't have an IP. So they don't really, they want us to prove the product that it works and the IP is out there. So what we want to do now, together with the experience that we have and the other products that we have, we wanted IP so that we can at least increase our credibility, so that we can tap into that market and people can actually listen to us if we say, this is the product and there's a possibility that you can license it.
I think you need just to be a bit careful with generating IP is one thing, you need to invent it. Protecting the IP is another, which is the patent. From what it sounds, that you are still trying to generate IP. In other words, what you mean you are trying to generate the invention. If you have it generated, you should be able to protect it. So that's a clarity which needs to be clear.
Okay. We have the IP, like we've created the product, it's there. Our only problem now is that we can't go out there and talk about it and claim that it's ours because there's no protection.
Okay.
That's our only main problem.
It's very clear. Thank you very much, Linah, for your presentation. Having worked a bit with Mars, helping them scout for a packaging solution, I can confirm that they would like to see a protected solution before they start having any conversation. But thank you very much for your presentation. Next is Mareka, and Mpho, please prepare. So we're going to start now. Yeah. You ready?
Thank you. Yes. Phytalix has creative and innovative solution to treat cataract disease using just eye drops. So for those of you who still have good vision, this is how you see the world. And those affected by cataract, this is how they see the world. Cataract is an eye disease that is caused by the clouding on the lens of the eye as a result of protein aggregation. It is primarily an age-related disease. However, some children are born with congenital cataract. And people with diabetes also suffer or are more susceptible to developing cataracts, while dogs as well do develop cataracts. Although there is currently an available treatment method, it comes with challenges, and that method is surgery. Surgery is expensive, and the majority of the cataract population, which is sitting at over 189 million people globally, cannot access surgery. So our innovation seeks to address that unmet clinical need. So what is the solution? The solution is simply our solution. Tall eye drops. Our eye drops are made from indigenous plants, so we extract from indigenous plants. Okay, so with only two eye drops per eye for only 2 nights, the world will never look the same because you will be freed from cataract disease. So if you're not sold still, let me add to the advantages. No post-operative surgery complications, no downtime, and more change in your pocket. There are 94 million pet dogs across the world, and the dog owners have spent $4.1 billion last year alone on eye care treatment for their dogs. While on the other hand, there are 189 people suffering from cataract, and the vision industry captured $54 billion on surgery alone. So why us now? Well, 2 million people are diagnosed with cataract annually, and the rate of, or rather the growth of ophthalmologists are not keeping up. The use of the eye drops are based on indigenous knowledge, and we currently have anecdotal evidence. Where we are now is we want to do animal testing specifically on dogs, and this should enable us to produce a veterinary product and further move to human testing. The entire duration of the process, we're looking at plus minus 5 years at a cost of $5 million. And I'm a chemist by profession. My name is Mareka, with over 10 years experience in research and development. And together, there's an advisory team to move the product forward. We are seeking $500,000 USD to invest for preclinical studies. And the next stage is to license a veterinary product So, ladies and gentlemen, with all the information given, this is a great opportunity to invest in, and it will have massive social impact.
I think if we can solve the problem of cataract with 2 drops for 2 days, I'll give up my job right today and I'll come and join you.
Thank you.
But I can understand your vision and I can understand your belief. You got to get there. If you think you have the solution and you want to test it on animals, you need to get some volunteers. You may need to contact the super vet and actually ask him, would you like to try some of these on some animals? But what you need is evidence. How do you convince me that this works? Or is it just a magic voodoo?
Okay, it's not necessarily a magic voodoo because it is based on indigenous knowledge. It's got the chemistry of the extract has got some documented ophthalmic effects. However, with this one, there is a secret sauce in there, which is what the other people who have tried developing eye drops have not discovered. So it's not a new molecule. It's just it's already available. However, I'm introducing a new application to it.
Evidence.
Evidence is that if you use it because the laws are not very strict on. What do you call it, homeopathic treatments, it is used and it works. So people, it works.
Thank you. I've got some floaters in my eyes. Can you maybe have you got some with you? We can try it.
If you have medical aid.
Okay. Okay. So, what will the 500,000 be used for exactly? Can you tell us a bit more detail? And have you developed any similar products that have been successful, have gone through this process successfully?
No, this is the first one. This is the costs that has been given to me by the CROs in the industry in order to develop it to that stage. And that includes, obviously, animal testing and some biotech work that needs to come with that in order to have credibility.
I can speak to it a little bit because I was working for a medical technology company for a while where we were also using a veterinary product as a launch pad for a human use product. So, and what we found is that the veterinary community is a very small but very close knitted community. So you definitely need key opinion leaders on your side who are basically blowing your trumpet. So how are you proposing to achieve that? Where are you with the veterinary product that you could potentially get vets on board and say, yeah, I'm going to try this?
The intention is to partner with institutions which are dealing with developing drugs. And that's basically my starting point. So we want to start looking into partnerships with people who are in the same industry. I don't know if I answered.
So sorry, could you just clarify that a little bit? So you're looking at, so if your next step is working with vets to test it, your next step is to try and work with kind of pharmaceutical companies to access vets? Or are you trying to do it yourself? How's that plan?
It's not necessarily looking into working with veterinary people. For an example, in South Africa, the university does this kind of work. So before you can move to the first in human trials, you need to pass the stage first. So you apply, and then you contract them, and then they do the work for you. And then basically you produce data. That's all that is required.
Last one.
And can I go, I guess the question to go back, I wonder if you can tell us more about how you invented this, because a lot of this is at this stage reliant on people believing you that this works. So how did you invent it and Eureka moment?
I was following a lead on a particular eye infection. And this, like I said, that the use is based on indigenous knowledge. So I took the extract and basically did some fingerprints on it and discovered a whole lot of components that make up the substance, and went back into the literature and corroborated the science and the science on the medical side. And it just gelled together and took the risk.
Thank you very much. Let's give it a...
If this works, I think we have a Nobel Prize in the making here.
Yes, we hope we do. Okay, you ready?
Okay, thank you. Aerial photography is one of the growing trends in the field of photography. But the problem is no one affords a drone. At least I know I don't. My name is Mpho. I'm trying to make drones affordable. I'm here to present to you a high-quality, low-cost drone that we developed. What gave us the confidence to do this is because we saw a neglected customer segment, which is the lower-end entry-level photographers, the prosumers, because the leading incumbents in the drone industry that are taking the higher-end markets, which is obviously higher margins, which is like professional photographers who can invest in a high-quality, high-cost drone. So our drone, we're trying to do a balancing act between giving a good quality and a good price. So how do we manage this? We manage this by reducing some of the components that a drone flies on. So, and then we reduce some of the rotors to make it fly on one rotor. And we sacrifice some features that a normal low-end photographer does not necessarily need. Then this reduces the components, therefore reduces the price. But then the camera will still be like a good quality camera, and the components will still be the high quality, but then it wouldn't have as many high-end quality capabilities that high-end photographer needs. So this is a play on the theory of disruption, that market incumbents always go for higher segments, that leaving the lower segment customer neglected. And then we're trying to come in the space and increase our capabilities as we progress in the growth of our business. So where we see ourselves in the market, the green part is the high-end photographers, and then the prosumer is the upstarting photographers new in the market, and there's the hobbies, which is the toys. So the toy market is characterized with like low quality and very low prices. And then the prosumer market is like good quality and slightly higher prices. So we see ourselves right in the middle of the hobbies toy and the prosumer market with good capabilities and the good price. So we know that drone industry is a very rapidly growing industry, and the stats show that is growing into the future. It's a very nascent, early stage technology that's really growing fast in the future. Why do we believe our product is going to be the best? I personally have experience in working with the technology transfer offices. So I know a lot about the innovation management for new technologies and bringing them into market, and I've helped with the university and their world-class researchers, which actually helped us with the designing the drone, the aerodynamics of it. And because the drone, it's very difficult to make a drone fire on one rotor. So we had to do a lot of play with the aerodynamics of it. Then I think that's allowable for IP protection in the functional industrial design. What we need is partnerships with an incubator to help us move into the next stage of creating like an MVP that you can take into market and validate with the customers. So we need a partnership with an incubator to help us redesign the prototype and with 3D printing and such. Thank you.
Thank you for this. I think this is a very simple example of confusion, in my view. There is a lot about drone market, as you have said, and there are a lot of cheap drones from China, particularly from Far East, $100, even affordable in South Africa. Mm-hmm. What you have identified is about the camera system, I understood. If you wanted to have a cheap camera system, affordable camera system, and that's where I think the confusion is. What is it you really are trying to do? To have a cheaper drone cheaper than the one that's made in China, autonomous? Or do you actually wanting a cheaper, high-quality camera? I didn't understand that part.
Well, I know there's a lot of very cheap drones, but then they are very low quality. They're very low because that's
quality of what?
The whole
the camera
the
or
motors,
low quality
the
of
cameras,
a drone?
everything. It's like a toy. It's something you'd buy for a child, not for like someone who's interested in photography, like seriously, but then they're not really that at the highest level. So those ones are like more of toys. They're very low quality components. Camera is very low quality. The batteries, I actually bought one while I landed, reverse engineered it. It flies for like 10 seconds, goes down. You have to charge it again, 10 seconds. So it's very low quality. The batteries are very low quality. So that's why I see, like, if that slide, it's more on the toy market. So us, we're trying to balance that and bring some good features also. So we do that. We do use real quality components, but then we reduce them. So it's very low components. Then it becomes cheaper that way, but it's still good quality cameras, good quality motors.
Hi, thank you very much. Can you just tell me one sentence what this is, why I need this thing?
Well, if you are a photographer, there's a rise in a lot of Instagram photographers. So it's for aerial photography for Instagram photographers. Okay. If I introduce it in one sentence.
My question is in a similar vein. It's like, what's the evidence that they need this?
Well, I am a photographer myself, and there's a lot of a lot of my friends. We know that I don't have £500 to spend on a DJI drone, but then I would love to have a nice aerial image. So that's why I'm doing this to target a lot of those early stage photographers who do a lot of stuff for Instagram, small parties. It's more of a hobby, but then it's kind of professional. So those are the people that I'm targeting, like prosumer photographers. Mm-hmm. Did I answer you? Yeah. Not really.
So my question is, how are you going to prove there's a demand for this? Because you're going to incur a lot of fixed costs when you start manufacturing. So what are your plans to kind of prove that there's a market for this?
Well, with the design of the MVP, I would take it into market, into the circles, into photography clubs, and just see how people gravitate towards it. Do they see it as important, or do they prefer to go for a high-end photography, or do they take up? So I'm really going to into iterative process and design the prototype, the MVP, and take it to market. If not, and then I can still add some features and see what really suits the market.
So I think my observation to you would be you don't need an MVP of a drone to go and get feedback on it from people. And I wouldn't also mix up kind of qualitative feedback with sizing demand. Because I think if you want to get feedback on whether there's a demand for this, just make a brochure on PowerPoint or something and see what people think of it. And if you want to test there's a demand for it, just create a fake website and drive traffic on Facebook for it. So I think you've got to prove that there's a market and a demand for this, and that you can occupy the price point. And I would do that before, because that's really cheap and easy to do. And I would do that before you start going down the line of getting yourself into incubators.
So online marketing, more or less.
There's a good book to read. I think it's like The Lean Startup.
Yeah, I've read that actually. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Next up, Petro Erasmus and Meloh preparing.
No.
More props.
Now you can play. Okay. Let's just that one, there you are. Okay. On that thing. Awesome. Okay. Wartels would like to welcome you. If we look at the world of maths achievement is a problem globally. Not only is it a problem in the classroom, overcrowded classrooms, inadequate training of teachers, teachers not having the necessary training to deal with your gifted child or your underachiever, but also at home. How many parents, the frustration of not knowing how to help your child, and then also the child having to deal with two grown-ups not knowing how to help them with the world of maths, and them ending not realizing their full potential. So in my own research, I started in 1988 in a small community where I wanted to understand why the Setswana learner was struggling with mathematics. So I then started, and my master's and my PhD research was all about helping them. And in my journey, I realized that we needed puppets. We needed something else. We needed something creative and innovative, because all the products that was there on the market did not address the need. And that's how the puppets were started. So I've got 6 puppets that teach the children anxiety, memory, habits, all the executive functions needed. And then there's the Wartels puppet, and that's the little blue one in front of you there. That's the clever puppet. That's the one that guides them on how the brain works and how they need to function, what they need to do when they're anxious in the classroom, how to find solutions to their problems. The Wobbling puppet comes out, and the kid can identify with the challenges that the puppet experiences, like maths anxiety, what to do if the teacher shouts at me, what if my stomach starts to cramp when I have to do maths. So that's where the research and the products then started. So there are 3 products. Because children still need tactile experiences, there's a board game with a lot of math apparatus specifically aimed at the child where they can deal with. Then there's the maths app, where there's an e-platform that is also linked to the national curriculum and also the international curriculum, which allows for individualized assessments and worksheets. Then there's Wartel workshops and continuous professional development for teachers and therapists across disciplines. So, how is my product different from others? The Wartels is the only one that allows for teaching the parent, the child, and the teacher how all brain's regions connect to mastering maths concept, but in a playful way, and you don't need an education system, and the child can do it in the middle of nowhere. They don't have to rely on resources. Okay. So my market is teachers, parents, therapists, corporates investing in education. It can be translated into any language. The current maths app market is about 7 million. In South Africa, we have 6 million primary school learners. In the UK, it's 23,000 primary schools that can deal with that. In terms of the board game, we're looking at a profit margin of 63%, and for the maths app, a profit margin of 88%. What am I asking? We're looking for a grant funding, 150,000 to complete the back-end programming, and then obviously distribution partners, and then government decision makers. Why invest in Wartels? Without Wartels and without people having maths achievement, we wouldn't have any of these innovators sitting here today. Presently in South Africa, only 1 in 10 children can pursue a career in science. Thank you.
Thank you very much again. I can see you have designed a new game for children to help them to encourage to do maths. As a parent, would I pay £150 for it? I doubt it, even in England. But that's my field. Maybe I'm a mean person. I think, how do you see this growing? How do you sell it to even people in England or to a toy industry?
Okay.
How do you sell this in contrast with the fact that children are now wanting, it's 2019, haptic control. They want to be able to play 2.5 hours with their smartphone which vibrates. How do you compete with that?
Okay. As you as a parent would definitely not buy the board game, and if you bought it, you will only buy components, and all the different components of the board game is sold separately. So it will range anything from £10 to about 120. 120 is the final kit that a teacher would use in a school to help children at all the different levels. You as a parent most probably will pay the £7 to have the monthly subscription for your child, and where you can individualize it for your child. You will also know exactly where the problem areas are and how to help him, and you can program the app in such a way that your child, everything in the content is directed at your child's maths needs.
Yeah, thank you. I love it. I think anything that helps kids get away from being addicted to their phones is a good thing. So, I mean, are any schools buying this at the moment, or have you not talked to them
What
yet?
I've done is we've developed it with Mind Music, which are distributors for psychological and educational products. So they're with us in the journey. So they in South Africa, so we know what the market wants, and all the research. I'm working with the top researchers in maths education in South Africa on that. So our next step is now to take it out into the schools and to go and show to the parents. My own research from 1988 and working in own private practice, 30 years, and that's what I found was working in classroom environments, individual as a therapist, because I'm an educational therapist and remedial therapist as well.
you very much. I really commend you for doing this.
Thank you.
The slide where you're basically saying which partners you want to work with, I mean, that's a very kind of, there are a lot of partners that you put on there, like education departments, NGOs, therapists, corporates. So where are you going first? I think that's probably what my question aims at. And secondly, do you have any kind of before and after evidence? I mean, what's the evidence that this actually increases engagements, the engagement of children with maths? I mean, have you done some sort of studies where some children are using it and some children are not using it, and you can compare that there's a difference between them in some form or fashion? I mean, what I'm missing at the moment is like, what evidence do you have that this works?
Okay, the research finding of the master's and the PhD studies was about the predictors of maths achievement. So you could predict what was the things, because presently all the maths apps, they only focus on the cognitive skills, but they don't focus on something a child with maths anxiety, for example. And this is where this product comes in. So you're going to deal with the soft skills and going basically into the feeling part and helping the child while doing the rest. In terms of entering the market, the things are designed in such a way that the therapist will have access to the backline diagnostic things where the parent won't have. So you can immediately distribute it to anybody, but what you need to have access for will be different.
So I think that you should just get this into some schools quickly. I wouldn't spend loads of money building something, because if you can get it into some schools and prove that it has positive outcomes, the money will come. So I guess I'd question your ask a bit. And another observation, we've done work around kids and mental resilience quite recently. And what's been quite interesting is just how popular it's been against parents. The stuff that we've done has won awards and sold through the roof. So I'm guessing my question is whether you recognize where your IP is, because I wonder whether there's opportunity to flip it and go, you're not about teaching maths, you're about teaching kids resilience. And actually, if you teach those kids learning resilience, you can apply that to maths and you can apply it across everywhere else.
That's exactly.
So my question to you is, what are you leading with when you go and sell it to teachers? Because I don't think you should be leading with about selling maths. You should be leading about selling learning and emotional resilience, because that's much more valuable.
Exactly. So that's the other side, the executive functioning of the brain. So that's where it comes from. But we're starting in the maths classroom. The second part of Wattles is to move into the language part.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you.
I wish I had one of those growing up. Maybe I would be an engineer today. Next up, Meloh. Yes. And she will be followed by Thando.
All right. To the right.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Hi, everyone. Today I'll be presenting on why you should franchise with my business, Techie Wash. How many of you, just by a show of hands, how many of you have used a laundromat for your clothes? Pretty decent. How many of you have used your shoe polishing or shoe shine services, be at your malls or your airports? That's how, dear friends, I knew I had a business. The traditional laundromats, the laundromat industry turns over $90 billion just in the US on an annual basis. Since I opened my shop in South Africa, Durban, last year, we found a new market of individuals that are buying high-end trainers. And these need a bit of cleaning. As you can see on our graph, my business has grown consistently over the last 12 months of 2018. And we can predict that 2019 will be better than the previous year, mainly because the business has two streams of income. One being our cleaning chemicals that we produce that are organic and environmentally friendly. And number two, your normal sales of sneaker cleaning. Also, we do not only just clean sneakers, we repair shoes. So we have a cobbler, we refurbish, and we polish. This over here is our financials. In 2018 alone, we cleaned over 3,600 shoes with an EBITDA of over £9,000, which is your equivalent to $60,000 in the UK. Bearing in mind that our labor of £5,000 is inclusive of the CEO or director's salary, which makes our EBITDA a clean £9,000. Yes. Oh, so this also is interesting and helpful in the sense that over a 10-year period, we'll be making an EBITDA of over $50,000, allowing the business to grow organically by sustaining itself. Jason Mark is a case study of mine, based in London and UK, and have cleaned over 50,000 shoes since the year 2014. This is a picture of my shop and the kind of area environments that we have. So my ask is that you invest, you franchise with us.
I was just writing experience, user experience, the cost. We need franchising this everywhere in the US and the UK, and then you ask for it. So what are you waiting for?
I'm waiting for people to...
Why waiting for people? Why don't you go across London, Oxford Street, everywhere
Because
else and say, I want franchise?
I want to start in South Africa. I want to grow it organically within...
But you already got a shop.
Yeah, I want more. Because also you need to take note of the fact that labor in South Africa is way cheaper. So once I have more experience and have more branches, that's more momentum, then I'm ready for the world. So start small.
I do not disagree, but I don't know why you're waiting.
Show me the money.
So you want money. You should ask.
Okay, thank you very much. So you said you've done something in London already. You did some trial trading, is that right?
Sorry?
You worked with a company in London.
No. There's a Jason Mark, it's an example.
Oh, okay.
They have a branch in London and the US, and they've...
You have not approached them?
No, I haven't approached them.
Why
I did
not?
visit one of our competitors, though,
Yeah.
called Shoe Spa a couple of days ago, and they're doing well.
Why haven't you approached anybody that potentially has synergies with this business?
Because they're doing, their focus is different. Most people, especially in Europe, focus on refurbishing and repairing rather than cleaning. So this market of cleaning is fairly...
And it's specifically expensive trainers?
Yes.
Okay, that's cool. Because I really tried to repair my expensive trainers and I couldn't get it repaired anywhere.
You have me now.
Yeah.
Have you thought of a shop-in-shop model whereby you are partnering with, let's say, Nike or like Nike Town or like, you know, some of those expensive shoe retailers and you're offering basically a shop-in-shop system? No?
No.
No. Well,
and
but,
also,
yeah.
I tried one called Tacky Town and also gyms. People don't trust people with their shoes. So if you have, I had the concept of a shoe drop box in a number of local gyms, and people used to want to give me personally so they know who to beat up should anything go wrong.
My question is, how does your franchise model work? Because you've mapped out the financials for owning a shop, but they're going to be different than for you in terms of owning the franchise. So what do I get as a franchisee? How much do I have to pay you? And then what does that do to my returns? Because the returns look quite small in the first few years. So when you add on the franchising fee, kind of like, does it stack up? Does it still work?
I think I can answer from the perspective of what do I get. I get 5% of your annual returns, and that's just about it. And I offer you marketing on the house with our website, and branding and fitting your shop just for only 500,000 Rand.
So where's your IP in that? Is it the brand or are there other assets I get? Because I could go and create my own brand.
It's within the systems primarily, It's also within the cleaning chemicals. Like I said, you have two streams of income. You can trade the cleaning chemicals by yourself and promote them by yourself, and also you could provide the shoe care services. And I'm also open to tailor-making every branch to the demands of every area.
And have you got any thought about how you're going to go and start selling your franchise? Because, I mean, I know from over here there's franchise conferences where people can rock up and buy a franchise. So have you thought of a strategy about selling your franchise?
No, I haven't, but I'm going to have tea with you and you're going to help. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next up, Thando.
Can I click to the left, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so your time starts now.
When I was in grade 9, my schoolmate was gang raped by a group of schoolboys. The entire ordeal was caught on camera. But the thing that I remember the most is not seeing a single one of those boys stopping themselves to reconsider what they were doing. Not even the camera person stopped to intervene. In South Africa, we have deeply embedded unequal gender norms that are reinforced by cultural and religious values. This is further aggravated by a lack of data and inaccess to information around gender-based violence. The consequence of this is that 20% of South African children experience school-based gender-based violence. But this is not only a South African problem, because 246 million children around the world experience the same thing. As a result, As a result of this, there are increased HIV and TB infections among children between the ages of 15 and 19. I have a solution. My solution is Mteto. Mteto is a gaming application and school-based intervention that teaches law, social fabric values, and protective behaviors to children in basic education using big data, gamification, and machine learning. It then also goes on to monitor and report the impact to external stakeholders. It then uses a customized search engine to link the children with external helpers around the community. So essentially what Mteto does is that it immerses the child in a virtual environment where they can learn. This is their safe space. And then it provides them with a practical tool that they can use in the real world to help them if necessary. For leaders and decision makers, the value is in reducing incidences of school-based gender-based violence and potentially saving $19 billion in educational economy alone. For victims and perpetrators, it is the prevention and the ending of the cycle of gender-based violence. And for parents, it is knowing that their child is just a little bit safer without them asking those annoying questions. Our revenue model is around licensing and data. So we license to government, NGOs, industries that have an interest in child education, as well as protecting the child, and providing data only to external stakeholders who are mandated to look after the child. My ask is $50,000 for further tech development, as well as introduction to global partners and customers around the world. It is my intention to reduce school-based gender-based violence in South Africa and around the world. I am here today to ask you to join me on this journey. Thank you.
Thank you, Thando.
I think nobody is going to argue about what you want to achieve. Even at the Royal Academy of Engineering, we are sitting here today. Our biggest challenge is to get young female engineers to be interested in engineering and keep them, because the proportion is 8% compared to 50% that needs to be. But the problem is that sort of propositions need to have an attraction. I cannot still see, apart from getting young men to role play the role of the females, young females, and learn through education, how would you attract people to attend this website? How would you give an incentive for them to go? That's not coming out clearly for me.
All right. Okay, so Mteto is a school-based intervention. School-based interventions have been proven to work and to reduce this kind of violence. So kids essentially don't have a choice whether they interact with the platform or not. But they are incentivized to enjoy the experience because it is an adventure game. So I did some research and consultation to find out what kind of games kids generally like playing, and the adventure category of the gaming market is the one that children in this age group, 10 to 15, or 14 rather, are most interested in engaging with. So this is not something that they necessarily have a choice with, but something that they have to engage with within various child empowerment programs and within the national schooling curriculum as well. Right now, I am in negotiations with the Department of Basic Education in South Africa to get this implemented in schools.
I think that should have been highlighted more in your pitch, because at the moment it basically stands as an app.
Yes.
And I think there's much more behind it.
Yeah.
And in terms of what nature the intervention has that you're having, yes. and the impact it has.
Yes.
So just as a recommendation.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing thing to tackle. My question is like, so I think this is such a complicated issue in that actually it's not just one thing that will cause people to behave in such a terrible manner. It will be their upbringing, it will be their influences at home, it will be all kinds of stuff. And I wonder whether an app can actually change someone's perspective. Because I think a lot of the theories of change that exist are about actually need to influence the whole kind of system around the child. So I wonder, have you got kind of proof that it works? And what are the links out to help the kind of the family and the system around the child?
So there's plenty of case studies that I have, and I can share that with you after here, that show that school-based interventions are really the only interventions that work. And the thing that's unique about Mteto is that it has the 3 factors. So in order for you to stop this kind of violence, first of all, there has to be a curriculum that understands the learning needs of the child. And that is what Mteto does. And it has to be a school-based intervention that the child interacts with on a regular basis. And there also has to be some kind of a practical tool that a child can interact with so that they can access the people who can be of assistance to them. And finally, the main key point of the Mteto intervention is how it collects data that can be used by external stakeholders to monitor the intervention and to intervene in various other ways.
And so that all sounds great in theory, because you talked about the evidence being a school-based intervention works, but have you proven that your intervention works?
Yes, okay, so 2019 is Mteto's pilot year, and we've already got a customer that we've secured, and our pilot will be beginning in April. However, I have done a study in 2017 that looked at how much children knew about the law, how much they knew about who to contact if they had experienced some kind of acts of school-based, gender-based violence, and a majority of them didn't really understand legal concepts such as rape and consent, and also didn't understand who to contact.
So how would your technology ensure that these supporters are safe, the safe people are actually safe, so it's not open to abuse?
Sorry, please ask that question again.
How do you ensure, because you had a category there where vulnerable people can seek support, how do you ensure that those people are safe?
Okay, so the customized search engine is different to something like Google, for example. So why would I use the search engine instead of going and just Googling? But Google has got a lot of information for children to process. So we have a very streamlined space where children can find only people who are relevant in the ecosystem. Secondly, the web pages that are on our search engine are customized web pages. Google does not create content, it only aggregates content. If you were to go to look at the UNICEF page right now, UNICEF is mandated to look after the interests of children. If you look at that web page, it is not palatable for a child. A child cannot understand that. And yet they are the ones who intervene with the protection of children. So what we do is that we create a very simple landing page or web page that children can be able to understand and access. This, I'll give you a case study. So 2 weeks ago in South Africa, a police officer came to school to come and teach children about sexual violence. After that session, over 300 kids came out and said that this teacher has been raping and sexually harassing us. But the police department does not have the capacity to do that. And so we have a cheap, affordable software at $7 per year per student that can be able to provide that kind of access and information to the child.
Thando, thank you very much for attempting to tackle such a serious issue.
Have you just heard, like last month, there was this big controversy about this ad from Gillette that they put out on the web around toxic masculinity?
Yeah.
And I was just wondering, whether that's something, a link up that you could create.
Yes, definitely, sure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you very much.
Next up, Sarah. You're the last but not the least today. So,
good afternoon, everyone. My name is Sarah, and I'm here looking for a strategic partner, and this is why. In South Africa, we are faced, not only South Africa, but other developing countries as well. In South Africa alone, there are about 2.2 million people living without toilets. Those that have toilets, they're using an old pit toilet. So we also have lack of water, especially in provinces like KZN and even Cape Town. And most people who are affected are poor people. Most people are faced with the reality of defecating in the outside environment. And most girls are missing school because, especially during their period time, because they can't go to school, some of the toilets are not covered. And it has been reported that children are dying, especially from diarrhea, because of improper sanitation. This creates a social exclusion for the poor, women and children. We have a solution, and it's a waste separating toilet. It prevents bad odor and disease without compromising a valuable resource such as water. And it also doesn't use chemicals. The waste falls directly into the digester where it is digested by microbes, where it can form a manure that can be like a fertilizer. Oh, sorry. And okay, there is the flush toilet that we are used to, as well as the pit toilet. Comparing it to our waterless toilet, it locks odor and diseases. Its servicing is safe, simple, and quick. It is also environmentally friendly and sustainable. It also generates value by the composite. The community can use the composite for their farming. So we did the research. We know that people need this toilet. We have the fund from the Department of Economic Development in KZN. We want to prototype the system. Just like I said, we need a strategic partner to help us in developing the technology. And that could also give us a wider market, funding and manufacturing. We have the local knowledge. We have the local connections. Currently, we have 2 municipalities that trust us with like the community in rural areas. And we know these people because we know what solutions they need. From myself, the University of Zululand and EDT, thank you very much.
I think, I know we are going for lunch, and this subject may not be necessarily appropriate, but I think there's a better subject here, and that's the subject of partnership. You have a solution. Joy, earlier on from Kenya, had also a solution to another problem, but the incentive to use is actually an integrated system where the product and the service you want to give is integrated. So why can't you see the solution may actually be a partnership with somebody like this, and then try to develop a roadmap for the product?
As I have mentioned that we want a strategic partner. All we have now is the money and the concept. So we want people within the expecting inventing the toilet, the waterless toilet, because obviously there are a lot of waterless toilet out there and more advanced one.
But did you not also see all these presentations with the use of plastics that you can make a roof? Can you not make a toilet?
Well, it can be made. Thank you.
Can you tell me a bit more how it's environmentally friendly? Like, is it a composting process, or what exactly is happening?
Oh, yeah,
Can we sell the compost? You know, what is it?
Well, the thing with in rural places, those people don't have money, but you find that they have small farms where they're growing the vegetables and everything. And it is familiar for them to use waste as the human waste or even cow manure to make it as a fertilizer. So I was thinking that their own waste would create a fertilizer for their produce.
Can we sell it?
Yeah, it's possible.
My question about kind of how unique and different is your solution? Because I know because you talked on your competitor side, you talked about kind of flushing toilets and then the kind of, I guess, the standard blocks. But I think there's quite a lot of innovation happening in between that space. I know a couple, Tiger toilets, I think, is one, and there's a bunch of others. So how does your idea, or have you looked at how your idea compares to some of what's possibly happening in other countries as well?
Yeah, as I've said, most toilets, there are toilets that are using, they can automatically open. Others are more well advanced, they use batteries and stuff. And I was thinking ours is going to be like more mechanically operated than it has a vacuum. And that's why I also want an expert in that field to like help with the invention of the toilet.
But do you really seriously think that actually the help you need is with people like Joy?
Yes.
And people who do the
I
plastic?
have talked to, yeah, I have talked to her.
So how could you take it to the next step? What do you need to take it to the next step?
Well, the next step is to create the prototype.
Or a partnership.
Yeah. Well, with the partnership is somebody who can also come with the expertise of prototyping the system.
But he knows how to make a structure.
Yes, and that could be a partnership. Yeah.
Out of box.
Okay, that's it. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Well done, everyone. Such an amazing and inspiring morning we had today. We learned a lot about innovations from South Africa and from Kenya. We've had amazing creative solutions, out-of-the-box solutions for issues like plastic waste. We have some of you tackling very serious issues like gender-based violence, cataract, and waste management, and so much more. I think this just demonstrates all the amount of intellectual capital and talent that we have in these two countries, Kenya and South Africa. So just let's give a round of applause to everyone presenting today. Also, I would like to use this opportunity to thank our panel of judges for all their maybe sometimes tough questions, but also advice and kind of insights on how to proceed further. Thank you for giving us your time this morning and for contributing. Thank you. And before we move forward, I'd like to invite our panel of judges to say a few words, to share their impressions about all the presentations they had today. So who'd like to start first?
All right.
Can you please address the camera and the audience? Yeah. Thank you.
So I'm blown away. This is my first time judging, so I had no idea what to expect. But I'm amazed. I think the quality, the pictures and the presentations were awesome. The responses to the questions were awesome. So congratulations to you all. I guess my advice to you all, no matter kind of what happens next from all this, is to not give up. Because the path that you're all trying to go down is really, really, really hard, and it's a massive, emotional, tough journey trying to get your own thing off the ground. But when you do, it's the most amazing thing, and you can all kind of change the world. So, congratulations to you all, and keep trying.
Who wants to be next?
Okay. No, just echoing Andrew's words, just to see, you know, having been witness of this miracle that had happened in the last 2 weeks of, you know, where you came in and where you are now. I think you really should give yourself a massive, massive punch through the roof round of applause. It was really nice. It was really nice to see them as, you know, as propositions put in front of a panel. I mean, it's a great achievement. So really be really proud of yourselves. Okay.
Thank you very much. I wouldn't like to be the one handing the awards because I want to give one to everybody. Because it was. So yeah, thank you very much. I really enjoyed it, and that's it.
Well, I didn't realize I have to stand up and face you at the beginning, so I have to face you up now. And I apologize for the morning. I think having done this for 3 years or 4 years, it has been quite an eye-opener because it's actually quite exciting. It's not about doing the same thing we do every day, but actually seeing there is a global solutions to global problem. You are appropriately sitting in engineering, in the Royal Academy of Engineering, the epitome of the engineering, because the role of engineers is to solve problems. We are problem solvers. And there are global problems. And you have identified the specific problem in Kenya, specific problem in South Africa, and a specific problem in the globe. So your solution to the plastic recycling will be our problem solved. But also you can actually produce infrastructure material to be able to grow. So what we need is this partnership, this understanding of these global problems. And I think even we share our experiences, we can also understand your needs. And I think together we can actually achieve what we want to do. So don't give up. You have a duty to do, and we all collectively fulfill this duty together. Thank you.
I like this definition. You're all here problem solvers. So do go on solving all the issues that you spot. And just before we break, I'd like to also use this opportunity to thank the people that worked alongside you, that guide you through the process. And these are your mentors that spend a lot of time working individually with each one of you. So let's give a round of applause to our mentors. And to our helpers today that helped organize this event. So Ed, thank you very much for timekeeping, Richard, and our filming crew. So now before So my pleasure, my pleasure. So, sorry? And holy, yeah. Now, before I make some technical announcements, I would like to say thank you to everyone who is watching us remotely. I hope you enjoyed today as much as we did in here. And do get in touch with us and our fellows. And we hope you'll join us again for the next events. And hope you have a good day wherever you are in the world. Thank you.